Nature gives us one hell of an incentive to have sex in the form of the greatest pleasure it provides, even though the purpose of having sex is to contribute to the advancement of the DNA. That way, we individually get what we want while contributing to the evolution of the whole. Then we'll get started. We'll do some reading, and I'm looking forward to still doing the reading for you. So, Principles by Ray Dalio, that is what we are going to be reading. We are learning about the actual principles, and at the moment we're talking about life principles. We've been talking about very philosophical things. We've been talking about, for example, evolution and how things need to change, and how there are laws of nature, and how we need to look towards nature to understand how the world really works, be open and transparent, and be a hyper-realist. And today we are going through evolving is life's greatest accomplishment and its greatest reward. I'm going to go through the dot points of that. Here we go. The individual's incentives must be aligned with the group's goals. To give you a quick example of nature creating incentives that lead to individuals pursuing their own interests that result in the advancement of the whole, look at sex and natural selection. Nature gives us one hell of an incentive to have sex in the form of the greatest pleasure it provides, even though the purpose of having sex is to contribute to the advancement of the DNA. That way, we individually get what we want while contributing to the evolution of the whole. So there are incentives for us to do the right thing. It's actually interesting because I was having a chat to somebody yesterday about the fact that there are incentives in nature for us to automatically do the right thing, but there are also certain things that aren't automatic, but that we are taught. So, for example, a lot of men will chase after women and not know how to do it because they were brought up by other women, and they are clueless as to how to actually get a woman. And so they do completely wrong. They still have the urge, they have the desire, but they're not sure what they should do or how they should do it. And it goes horribly wrong because they end up upsetting or offending or a really annoying woman. But on the other hand, the only way that they're going to find out whether it works or not, whether she is interested or not, is by making the approach. So it is a really interesting topic, but we don't need to go in too deeply into that one. Reality is optimizing for the whole, not for you. Contribute to the whole and you will likely be rewarded. Natural selection leads to better qualities being retained and passed along. For example, better genes, better abilities to nurture other better products, etc. The result is a constant cycle of improvement for the whole. So when it comes to products, when we're looking at it from a business point of view, from an investment point of view, those things that the majority want will stay, and the things that the minority like will not stay. So that is actually very interesting because I used to go to the supermarket a lot, and the supermarket used to have all these goods that I really loved. And we'd have a product, for example, that I knew was healthy and it was really, really good. And I liked it. I liked the taste of it, etc., etc. And it would disappear. And the reason it would disappear is because obviously not enough people were buying it. And this happened a number of times where the product that I really loved, because it was not what the masses wanted, it was different, it was healthy, it did the opposite of what everybody else wanted. And they would always disappear. And I was so sad because my favorite products would always disappear. Everything that the majority of people wanted would always stay. But there was never enough sales of the product that I really liked because it was different and not optimized for the larger group, not optimized for the number of sales that the shop wanted to make. Adaptation through rapid trial and error is invaluable. Natural selection's trial and error process allows improvement without anybody understanding or guiding it. The same can apply to how we learn. There are at least 3 kinds of learning that foster evolution. Memory-based learning, storing the information that comes in through one's conscious mind so that we can recall it later. Subconscious learning, the knowledge we take away from our experiences that never enters our conscious minds, though it affects our decision-making. And learning that occurs without thinking at all, such as the changes in DNA that encode a species' adaptations. I used to think that memory-based conscious learning was the most powerful, but I've since come to understand that it produces less rapid progress than experimentation and adaptation. To give you an example of how nature improves without thinking, just look at the struggle that mankind, all its thinking, has experienced in trying to outsmart viruses, which don't even have brains. Viruses are like brilliant chess opponents. By evolving quickly, combining different genetic material across different strains, they keep the smartest minds in the global health community busy thinking up countermoves to hold them off. Understanding that is essentially helpful in an era when computers can run large numbers of simulations replicating the evolutionary process to help us see what works and what doesn't. In the next chapter, I will describe a process that has helped me, and I believe can help you evolve quickly. But first, I want to emphasize how important your perspective is in trying to decide what is important to you and what to go after. That all sounds very interesting. I'm looking forward to this chapter where he talks about how to evolve quickly. Because yes, you will notice everything around us evolves quickly. And yes, viruses will evolve much more quickly. And even our thinking smart brains struggle with them, I suppose. But that might be a discussion for another day. That could go very deep. Realize that you are simultaneously everything and nothing, and decide what you want to be. That's actually very interesting because I watched a movie last night called Everything Everywhere All at Once. I won't give any spoilers, but it was a funny movie. It was very strange and very difficult to follow at the beginning until you could actually understand the dialogue around what happened at that point in time. But it was a fun little movie, and it's about you being simultaneously everything and nothing, but also everywhere at the same time. It is a great paradox that individually we are simultaneously everything and nothing. Through our own eyes, we are everything. For example, when we die, the whole world disappears. So to most people, to other species, dying is the worst thing possible. And it is of paramount importance that we have the best life possible. However, when we look down on ourselves through the eyes of nature, we have absolutely no significance. It is a reality that each one of us is only one of about 7 billion of our species alive today, and that our species is only one of about 10 million species on our Earth. And it's very, very interesting because I have often thought about the fact that there are obviously places where it's urbanized and where there are humans. And so humans live there, and we see certain animals. There's less animals because, for example, where I live, there are no snakes. There's hardly any spiders. Lots of animals are not here. So no crocodiles. There's a lot of wild animals that we have removed or who have been disincentivized from living in some of those cities. However, having said that, there are also areas where it is only nature. Now, if humans were invented, animals were invented in order for us to be able to interact with those animals and to have the enjoyment of having those animals. For example, when I walk down the road, I see the birds and I love listening to the birds. So I actually stop. Even if I'm on my way somewhere, if I'm running late, or whatever it is, I will stop. But most people rush past and don't even notice that the birds are there. But if those birds are meant to be there for our pleasure as humans, there are certain areas where there are only wild animals and they never see a human. So what is the purpose of those animals if not for humans? They don't interact in any particular way with anybody else or anything else. And you might wonder, what is the purpose of these animals that are so far away from any humans? So obviously, they're not there for our enjoyment. There is a greater purpose that is beyond us right now. So I thought I'd just share that because that's something that keeps me awake at night. Our Earth is just one of about 100 billion planets in our galaxy, which is just one of about 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. And our lifetimes are only about 1/3000th of humanity's existence, which itself is only 1/20,000th of the Earth's existence. In other words, we are unbelievably tiny and short-lived, and no matter what we accomplish, our impact will be insignificant. At the same time, we instinctually want to matter and to evolve, and we can matter a tiny bit. And it's all those tiny bits that add up to drive the evolution of the universe. The question is how we matter and evolve. But do we matter to others who also don't matter in the grand scope of things, or in some greater sense that we will never actually achieve? Or does it not matter if we matter? So we should forget about the question and enjoy our lives while they last. Very, very interesting, very, very deep. E, what you will be will depend on the perspective you have. Where you go in life will depend on how you see things and who and what you feel connected to. Your family, your community, your country, mankind, the whole ecosystem, everything. You will have to decide to what extent you will put the interests of others above your own, and which others you will choose to do so for. That's because you will regularly encounter situations that will force you to make such choices. While such decisions might seem too erudite for your taste, you will make them either consciously or subliminally, and they will be very important. For me personally, I now find it thrilling to embrace reality, to look down on myself through nature's perspective, and to be an infinitesimally small part of the whole. My instinctual and intellectual goal is simply to evolve and contribute to evolution in some tiny way, while I'm here and while I am what I am. At the same time, the things I love most, my work and my relationship, are what motivate me. So I find how reality and nature work, including how I and everything will decompose and recompose, beautiful. Though emotionally, I find the separations from those I care about difficult to appreciate. Wow, I didn't know that this book was going to be so philosophical. We're going to leave it there. I am going to have to get ready for my weekend away. But I wanted to still read because today is public holiday, but it's still Friday, so I only don't read on weekends. So we are only a tiny little part of something which is huge. We don't really matter. I remember when I was younger, and I've never been able to find the quote. In the Old Testament, I believed that I found a quote that said that King Solomon said that nothing really matters. Everything is idleness. Nothing really serves a purpose when you look at it from a bigger perspective. And so that is something that I took into my life as a philosophy. But now that I've been looking for that quote, I cannot find it anywhere. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of something called, I can't think of it for a second. Give me a moment. The Mandela Effect, yes, where things that you thought were real don't seem to be that way anymore. So, for example, there might be a certain kind of book that had a title, and then now that title is different, or that a certain text in a movie that you remembered was a certain way is slightly different in reality now. As if you are moving from one reality to another, you are moving from one dimension to another, or you're moving from one multiverse to another multiverse, for example. So I have that a little bit with that Solomon quote, which is very interesting. As you get older, so many interesting things pop up, and you experience things very, very differently. Anyhow, the thing is that we all have to figure out what it is that we want on this earth. We have to figure out what we want to do with our lives. And for some of us, it's easier when we realize that we're only a tiny part of this world. And for some of us, it is extremely difficult once we've figured out that we're only a tiny part of the world to actually want to do anything. And so it can be motivating, it can be demotivating. But the thing that is important to realize is that once you realize that we are only a tiny part of a massive whole that is so big that we matter nothing well, we do, because obviously we exist, but over the grand scheme of things, our existence, our personal existence, doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't influence the whole that much. Obviously, it's all of the little pieces that influence the whole, but our personal existence doesn't really do that much. So once you know that, you cannot really go back from that. So you have to use that to motivate yourself, or to be able to just shut off everything else and say, okay, I want to do XYZ. I'm going to do that in this short period of time, and I'm going to do my utmost best to ignore the fact that there is so much else. So I suppose that is one thing that we can definitely get from this chapter. And yes, we have to understand that there are the laws of nature. That if we want to start a business, we have to create products that everybody wants, that the majority wants, that's going to sell enough. And that if you go to the shopping center and you go to the supermarket and you like products that not enough people like, your products are going to disappear off the shelves and you won't be able to buy them anymore. Okay, we're going to leave it at that for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I would love to know your thoughts around this, because I'm very curious to know what you think about not mattering that much, how you deal with it, whether you already knew that, whether it's something that is new for you. If you are a bit younger, you might find that quite new, a new concept, because from your perspective, you see only your own life up until this point. So I'm very curious to know what your thoughts are around this chapter. It's very, very deep philosophy. And I enjoy talking about those topics as well as investment. So if you have any thoughts on that, feel free to get in touch on Instagram. You can get in touch on business_team_6_official. If you're on Bigo and you are joining us, I would absolutely love to get to know you. So for example, I can see, and thank you so much, Young God, for all of your little things that you've been sending and all of the comments that you've made in the last couple of days and even perhaps a month, because I've seen you quite a lot. Please get in touch on Instagram. I would love to get to know you, and I would love to have a discussion around these things, all the things that we've spoken about in this book. And I'd love to know what you think, because I can see your messages and your little gifts, but I would love to also know what you think. So feel free to get in touch, and let me know what your name is on Bigo, obviously, so that I know who you are, because your name on Instagram might be slightly different. But then I would love to be able to know more of you. And if you'd like to be able to come and play the simulator, the real life simulator, in order to be able to understand the financial side of that infinitesimally small part of your life, then feel free to let me know that as well. And yes, I can get my VA, my virtual assistant, to send you the details of how you can be involved and how yes, you can use that to be able to learn about finances and how to create financial freedom, passive income, wealth for you and for the rest of your family, multi-generationally, for example. So I would love to be able to send that through to you as well. And if you're enjoying the book, if you would like to see more chapters, previous chapters, any chapters that you've missed, you can watch the replays on YouTube. You can find us at the Passive Cashflow Club. And I would love to get your comments there as well, if you prefer to leave your comments there. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you in either of those two places. Looking forward to getting your messages and hearing your comments and thoughts. And I would also love to meet you in person or online when we play Cashflow. So I'm going to leave you to have a great Easter weekend. And obviously today is the first holiday for most people, unless you're Orthodox or unless you don't celebrate Easter. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again on Monday for more reading. And yes, I'm also looking forward to, if you have any questions around the book or anything else, feel free to send me your questions by Instagram as well, business_team_6_official. And I'll turn those into videos and also add them to the YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe so that you know when new videos are uploaded. It could be the answer to one of your questions if you've asked a question, or it could be the answer to a question that you didn't even know you had, or that you didn't know was going to be important to you. And it might help you along your way on your journey to financial freedom and wealth success. So have an absolutely amazing day today, everybody. I really appreciate you joining. I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to go back to Bigo and say hello to everybody on Bigo. And see who commented and sent little things. So have an amazing day. I am looking forward to seeing you again on Monday. Thank you for joining, and stay safe. And remember to make the switch to unlock your rich, because doing the same thing isn't going to make any difference. But making some changes, making that switch, can definitely unlock your rich.